Yo, what's going on, guys? Socks for 5 and 6 here today, and this is the new mark of a new series called Let's Talk. So, before we get into this, let me go ahead and explain what this is. We're going to be going through all, if not, well, yeah, pretty much all of the Sonic eras classic, adventure, boost, and even the Dark Ages, and more if there is more, of course. But this is not me just doing this alone, so I will not bore you. I'm going to be doing this with a friend, so this will be a collab, and you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Ali. I'm gonna be here, I guess. Yeah.
Again, this is not going to be a perfect series or anything. Like we'll be interrupting each other. I mean, not in a
hmm
rude way, but
Yeah,
yeah,
just like friends.
right. Yeah, we're not going to be purposely trying to harass each other.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about Sonic Adventure. We can start with the story, and you can go first if you want.
So, of course, we're gonna start with Sonic's story, I assume.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I have one thing to say about Sonic's story. When Sonic's story starts, I don't like the way it begins. Like, not like the introduction. I mean, just the whole setting. Like, until they confront Eggman, it feels like I'm watching a children's cartoon. And Sonic is narrating everything. He's like, "Oh no, they have this many Chaos Emeralds, and we have this many Chaos Emeralds." Like
Yeah.
yeah, they just showed that Sonic. You know, but
I can
as
agree with
it goes
that.
on, right, when like they meet
Hmm.
Knuckles and they go to the egg carrier, all that stuff, I think it gets a lot better.
Hmm.
And I
Uh,
feel like in a lot of ways the story serves the gameplay, like the set pieces the story sets up, and um like when the story takes you to the temple area and then there's the Lost World level. Um like I feel like of course that's the job of a story in a video game to set up the encounters and all that stuff. And I think
hmm.
Sonic Adventure does that like pretty well. It's not just an interesting story, it accentuates the gameplay and allows for cool set pieces, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. And my thoughts would be Sonic's story at the beginning. I thought it was actually okay. I thought they could have, I don't know, made it more interesting because obviously he's jumping off of buildings and then he sees chaos. I don't
hmm
know. Why was he randomly just jumping off of buildings? Maybe he could have came from somewhere, but
I mean,
that's just a
yeah,
little bit of a nitpick.
I do think like okay, while the beginning isn't very informative on what's going on, I think it's if you're like it's your first time ever playing a Sonic game, right? I
Hmm.
think it pretty much sets up what to expect from Sonic's character. Of course, it doesn't tell you all the depth that he's carrying, he's kind of like all that about him, but it shows pretty perfectly that he's cool and he's fast. I mean, yes, he's also kind of cringy, like, oh yeah, this is happening and all that stuff, but I mean, that's kind of expected. That's what he is.
Right,
And
that's Sonic. He's a
so
kid
yeah,
franchise.
yeah. A lot of
That's
people.
some things that people get mistaken with is that Sonic was like since he was darker at some points that he was
Uh huh.
like a I don't know a teenager
Yeah.
franchise supposed
A
to
lot
be
of people.
throwing f
Yeah.
bombs.
A lot of people like to forget that.
Yeah, I don't know why. And then they hate on Sega for making a game that's more lighthearted like Sonic
Yeah,
Colors.
it's
That's
like
not for now.
kids these days like Teen Titans Go. Of course, the franchise is going to go in a direction similar to that.
Right, because look at that. They're thriving and stuff. So why wouldn't
hmm
Sonic want to do that? Anyways, going
Yeah.
back to the story, um, the middle, like with Eggman, kind of. I'm not really going too deep into that, but I would say it was kind of dumb. Like if Eggman was just holding out something, like kind of like what you said,
hmm
he would just be like, "Oh look, Tails, Eggman has a Chaos Emerald," and he wouldn't like make an action. He would just say it.
Yeah, that's kind of dumb, but in my opinion, like I agree that makes it pretty hard to take it all seriously. But I feel like that's more like a nitpick, you know?
Yeah, most of these are actually gonna be nitpicks from me,
hmm
but I mean, that was just something that, I mean, he just stuck it out right in front of him. He just didn't do an action. He just was like, "Hey Tails, I'm kind of struggling, but I want to go get some coffee later on." Or just
Alongside
something.
with that, there's a lot of presentation issues, and I feel like that's the main issue
Execution.
with most of the stories in Adventure. I'd say like there are a couple stories that don't suffer from that as much,
Mhm.
but a lot of stories in Adventure have presentation issues, and that hurts.
Yeah, that hurts pretty big, but I mean, that specific scene that I was talking about didn't hurt as much, but some things could have been
Yeah.
better, would have made it better.
And I think that's a good way to lead on to the next point, the voice acting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
You want to
Ryan
start?
Drummond. I'll go ahead and say my thoughts on him. I don't think he's a bad Sonic. In that game, his execution was iffy. Not bad,
Okay.
but iffy.
I agree. Okay. I think I'm going to elaborate on that a little more. Is that
Mhm.
okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Sonic, the way Ryan Drummond does the voice acting for Sonic, in my opinion, the voice he uses is practically perfect for Sonic. I still prefer Jason because that's what I grew up with, but I'm still growing up. That's a stupid term, but whatever. I prefer Jason, but Ryan fits the Hedgehog a lot better, in my opinion, than any other voice actor Sonic has had.
I can
But
agree.
the delivery, it's not that good. Like,
Yeah.
and you can't blame any of the voice actors for that. They had no context of the scenes. If you like look into it, they had no context on anything. So, like lines like "Oh no" suddenly become a lot more understandable.
Yeah.
But it's still like that. I don't know. Like I feel like all the voices they're still definitely good at what they're
Right.
doing. Like Adventure 2 and Heroes prove that.
Yeah, yeah. But I would just say, obviously, as time goes on, of course he's going to get better. I'd be shocked if he got worse. But
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, this is happening. I just don't know, uh,
Where
how
you
do
going,
you
you big drip?
right stuff like that? How do you just say it like that and just think? I don't know. I don't want to say it like that because that's not. It sounds like I'm coming off as being rude, but when he was recording it and just be going like, "Where you going, you big drip?" or like, "You're
Well, I
gonna
mean, like,
crash." Ah,
okay, okay. I don't think you can blame him because once again, he wasn't told what he was responding to or what he was like any of that. All he knew is he had to say one line. He had no idea what the tone would be or anything like that.
true.
And so I can't like if he's in a serious scene and he says something goofy, like in a goofy voice, like I can't blame him for that. That's like how would he know?
True, true. I mean, like, they're not saying, please say this happily or please say this depressed or something like
Hmm.
that. They're just, he's just doing it. They're not telling him anything. So, uh, Sonic's final part with Supersonic, I'm going to go ahead and skip to there, even though there's a little bit more. Um, I think his transition to Supersonic was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Like, there's nothing more I can add there.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say, but obviously his first time with a voice actor being or turning into Supersonic, thought that was executed not perfect. Like I would say, Unleashed would be close to perfect in my opinion. That's kind of biased, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But once again, I also have biased. I'm
yeah,
also
yeah,
like very biased because that was my first ever Sonic game.
yeah. I can. And my first ever Sonic game was sadly Sonic and the Secret Rings, but we're not going to talk about that
I
today.
mean, you like that one, so it isn't that sad.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Do you want to add anything to that or?
I have like okay. Are we going to talk about Tails? Because we're doing the voice acting, and Tails was a huge part of Sonic's story, like for the
Oh
beginning.
yeah, we can move on to Tails as a whole, unless you want to add something to Sonic's part.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. We can move on to Tails.
All right, all right. Um, so with Tails, I'll go ahead and say my points on his story, and then you can talk
Mm.
about his voice acting if you want. Um, I think him being kind of like not a replica of Sonic, but um, like his sidekick that's just scared. I don't know. It was okay until the turning point happened at the end with Tails gaining his own ability to be brave or whatever. I thought that was really good for him because him being a kid forever alongside a
Hmm.
15-year-old, I don't, that just didn't seem like it would work, but they made it work, thankfully.
Yeah, I really like the writing and the story, but here's the thing: when you read it on Wikipedia, it sounds really good. It sounds amazing. But then
Yes,
you hear the story, you watch the story, and the way the lines are delivered ruins practically like everything for me. I still like his story. If I like it as a story, it's well written. Shiro Maekawa did an amazing job. The themes, the everything about that's good.
I agree.
But then the voice acting, like
Voice acting of all things
how,
has to ruin it.
like I get that it's good to make kids voice act as kids. It can work if you've heard the Digimon dub. It does. Like I mean, wait, did the Digimon? I'm not sure. I heard once that most of the voice actors in the Digimon dub were kids when they did that, but Colleen is okay. Whatever, forget that. But making kids voice act as kids on paper is a very good idea, and sometimes it can work. But it didn't work in this case, and I don't like. They had an extra year to do the English translation.
Yeah,
How did they not sit there and be like, okay, this voice actor definitely can't do this? I understand. I can forgive so many of the flaws for the Japanese sub, all of those, because they had 8 months.
yeah.
If they like hired a bad voice actor and he didn't do well, they had to go with that. Like they had no choice there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the English translation had a lot longer, and it really it puzzles me that they kept a voice actor like that for the dub.
It's a little, it's a little disappointing. Like, I believe I don't remember his name. I think it was Corey Bringus. I don't really dwell in the past as much. I'm trying to stay in the future, but um, I think that was his name. He could have done a lot better. It was like I don't like to bash on people because again they're all people, but this was bad.
Yeah, like
I
I
don't.
can't even blame him not knowing the context. Like the other voice actors at least tried to assume the context. He just gave a blank text to speech esque voice.
I wonder what happened to Sonic. Like he just, I don't even know. It it just sounded like he was looking at a paper, was like forced to read against his own will or something.
It's like when you have to stand up and read for the class. Like,
Like thank you, Mrs. But I don't know what to Sonic. It's just like little things that kind of make it worse. I wouldn't say obviously terrible, but it's terrible.
I mean, like, okay, I'm not gonna try to blame him because like he was like, what? How old was he when he did the voice line, like the voice acting for all that?
Probably 8.
Okay, I feel really bad for him because that game is like it's pretty old about now. It's like 21 years old for the English
I
translation.
think so. I think so.
Yeah, so I mean, like he probably looks back on that, and he's probably like, like how you might have tried YouTube when you were like 8, and then you look back on it, and then you're like, that wasn't good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he probably feels like that now. So I don't want to bash on him too much, but it wasn't good, man. I'm sorry.
It just
There's no
wasn't.
other way. Yeah, there's no
Like
other way of putting that.
I was trying to fit it like a way around so I could say something a little nice, even though obviously he's not gonna get all the he's not gonna watch this, but I just want to
Hmm.
make it sound a little bit nice, even though I'm not because I'm not a mean person. But there's just
Yeah.
no way. It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Hmm.
Um, adding on the Tails' story, um, I would say Tails should have had a little bit more interaction with Takal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, meaning like he like I don't know how I want. put this? So like at the end, I feel like Takal should have like to played a part in like everyone's story at the end, besides the final battle. She didn't really do that much. So I mean, I wasn't like disappointed or as a game changer, but it was definitely something that I would have wanted.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, to make Takal special since she doesn't make another appearance.
Sadly.
Sadly, Takal's a good character. And now on to Knuckles the Echidna. And since I started with Tails, I think I started with Tails. You can start with Knuckles.
Um, so Knuckles, how do I put this? Knuckles, I like the treasure hunting gameplay a lot. Right, I'm a huge fan of that. I've
Yes.
heard like I've watched Pro Jared's review of SA2. I've seen like a lot of reviews. A lot of people don't like that playstyle. A lot of people mainly like Sonic's playstyle. A lot like I really don't care. I think it's amazing. I really like sprawling around its Knuckles. Sure, it can go on for like way too long sometimes, and if you like are having so much trouble finding an emerald, it gets tedious. But I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I think the Knuckles gameplay is really fun in SA2,
In
while
essay.
the radar is better in SA1. The level design, in my opinion, at least like okay, the first level was alright. In Casinopolis, I began to realize the level design is severely worse in SA1 compared to SA2 for Knuckles' level. And I mean, I can't blame them for that. They only had 8 months. But, like, I don't know, like, I'm not going to review an art form by saying they only had 8 months. Like, at the end of the day, they still, in my opinion, didn't do that good of a job.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that there. But before you continue, I want to say a little bit on that treasure hunting. I'm not against treasure hunting. When I first played it, I didn't anticipate it to be that way. I thought it was a little bit linear or whatever. So, yeah, I didn't expect it to be like a free world or whatever you want to call it. I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was going to be closer towards you like walk forward or run forward. The radar would pop up and you got to find where it is or something like that.
That sounds like pretty boring, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better the way they went. And
I didn't
also,
know what to expect, so
just to add on one thing, I said before, I don't know exactly what I said, that they didn't do a good job. Which I wanna rephrase that. They did a good job for what they had. It's just what they had wasn't that much. They only had 8 months.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyways, you can go on with your points. I kind of just rambled for like solid 2 minutes of the entire video.
Yeah, it's okay, man. It's okay. Um, I had to get my points. There they are. Basically, for the rest of Knuckles' story or going on with it, finding the Master Emerald, kind of taking its drift from the classic series to obviously the modern or the adventure series in this case was pretty great. I definitely like that they didn't just revamp all the characters completely. Obviously they added some new characters, obviously Big the Cat, but we're not going to talk about him just yet. But I'm glad they kept their origins basically
Mm-hmm.
because they
I
could have
think.
taken a whole new route like the Sonic movie.
Mm-hmm. I think another thing I want to say, the Master Emerald. I think it's a perfect idea for Knuckles to be like treasure hunting for the Master Emerald shards and stuff because in the
Okay, so continuing on after that interruption, um, we're going to be talking or continuing talking about Knuckles' story. So, as a whole, I think Knuckles' story is really good. I think at the beginning, it's not necessarily slow, but like I forget, it was like Chaos or someone was at his little ancient place, and then they Knuckles thought he was stronger, and then he punched them off. That me saying that, I mean, I didn't say it perfect, but sounds kind of bland. But watching it wasn't terrible.
mm-hmm.
The voice acting wasn't perfect, but I like Knuckles' voice actor a lot actually. because he just sounds so genuine.
He sounds chill.
Yeah, just like he sounds like an actual human, and I always
Yeah.
have said that because Knuckles. I prefer Knuckles with a raspier voice or a gruntier voice, or however people say it or describe it. But I think that wasn't terrible as anyone would think it would be.
Yeah. I think Knuckles' story is pretty good with like showing his character. Like once again, the introduction was pretty good for who Knuckles is. It shows him mastering. What the am I saying? The guarding the Chaos Emerald, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that instantly shows you his job. He's guarding the Master Emerald. If you played 3 and K, now you see that's what he does, like his entire life, basically.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's probably boring, honestly, thinking about that. Like, just sitting there, like, what else does he even do?
Sitting there meditating and just hoping for the best.
Yeah,
Like, if no one actually attacked him, he would just be sitting there for the rest of his life.
Yeah. So he turns around, and he sees this guy standing on the Master Emerald, and the Master Emerald has, like, it's broken or something like that. I kind of forgot. But, and, like, without even thinking about it, he's like, you must be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he just jumps to that conclusion. And it kind of shows how naive he is.
Yeah, I can agree.
And I think that's a pretty good aspect of his story. An aspect I don't like is how Eggman manages to convince him. Knuckles has always been naive, but until then, he wasn't an idiot. Like,
Right,
3 and K happened.
Dumb.
Yeah, 3 and K happened. He should know Eggman is not trustworthy.
So that's when I can agree with people that say that was the little, in quotes, restart part, even though it's not a complete restart. But they're bringing new elements in, but keeping some of the old, obviously, for now. The new
eventually,
series.
it's sort of like a soft reboot, and I don't really like that. I feel like it should have just been a full reboot, honestly.
I can agree.
But yeah,
we're keeping like little things like the Chaos and Master Emerald.
I don't have much more to say about Knuckles' story. What about you?
The Echidna tribe being there, closer towards the end was really good. It for his origin, that was like really, really good.
Who do you want to move on to next?
Amy Rose.
All right, you can start because I started with Knuckles last time.
Okay, so wait, nope, this is not gameplay. Amy's story is okay. Hands down, I'll take it maybe over Biggs. Yeah, over Biggs. I don't think.
Bruh, Biggs has Froggy. What do you mean?
Yeah, Froggy's the GOAT, but
okay, Biggs is the best story. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I may even take Big over Sonic, but you never know.
Yeah, Big is the best story in the entire game. There's Froggy. But anyways, about the inferior story, Amy's.
Amy's, yes, very inferior compared to Big. But I don't think Amy's story was all that bad. Having a little robot thing chase her, I forget its name, E something maybe, probably. But
E10. No. It was like
it was
I don't know either.
it was green, I think.
Dumb, like I don't know. Let's just call him Mr. Monster Guy.
Mr. Monster Guy, that's the werehog.
Yeah, that's the reference.
So the werehog is now chasing Amy, apparently.
Yes. That's the story. Like, were we playing the same game? Okay, that was a very bad joke. I'm going to apologize.
I don't even know what to say now. Okay, I'm just gonna go on with my point. Okay, so, Amy being chased by that was pretty cool. It was kind of like almost a separate story, but not really. And then Amy obviously being friends with E102 Gamma, almost said Omega, was really good. And then the bird ending was on point, I think, for Amy's character and showing how she obviously cares about everything that has like a nice side to it instead of that is just completely wanting to kill everyone or anything.
I'm gonna be honest with something. Amy okay, Amy didn't really have that much of a character before Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
While I think the story overall gives gives her a proper character, especially with her dynamic with Gamma. I don't like that the story starts off with her being like, "Man, I miss Sonic. Sonic this, Sonic that. Sonic's the best, man. I love Sonic. I fucking love Sonic, bro. I wish Sonic was here, man." Why?
It's
Like,
just her. It's her fangirlness, and
I
I
know
guess
she's.
they were trying to give her an annoying side.
I know she's like supposed to be a fangirl, but shouldn't she have like? I feel like they. If you're going to expand one's character, then it's like by introducing her, by making her only like talk about a specific character, it really like it's not that good of a job at making her a more likable character.
Yeah,
And Amy never had a character before this, so they had free roam to do whatever, but they decided to go for the most lazy option.
make her a fangirl for no exact reason. I was gonna say for no purpose, but that
And like,
wouldn't be
no,
completely true.
I don't mind her being a fangirl. I think she should be a fangirl. That's an integral part of her character. But
It's just how it was executed.
yeah, and also, like, if you introduce her like that, then we're going to see her main personality trait like that. And that's the thing. The thing is, that is her main personality trait. But she has so many other personality traits that could have been, like, better done. They should have showed that. If they're
Right,
trying to
first.
make Amy a likable character, they shouldn't introduce her as being a BTS stan.
Yeah, right. They should have shown her. I don't probably how they did the ending. More of a
Mm-hmm.
loving character that just
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
know loves
maybe
a
she's
lot of stuff.
yeah, maybe she's helping out a kid because she's really kind and caring. And I mean, you can say that about most Sonic characters, but that's her thing.
Right. Not being like being a fangirl, you could argue being her number one, but when I think of Amy, of course, as a whole or as a good person, a good
Mm-hmm.
character, she's loving, of course, and caring.
Mm-hmm.
So
Um.
for her story, I have nothing else. It's pretty much that. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I agree with most of your points. That's why I only really talked about the introduction because that's the only other thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, yeah. So moving on from Amy, we're gonna be starting
Aren't
Biggs.
we going to talk about her voice acting?
Oh yeah, we can go ahead and talk about her voice acting.
Okay.
Yeah, her voice actor, I believe, was Jennifer Doolard. I don't remember, but I think that was her name.
She I don't like. Okay, they probably like. I'm not going to bash her in particular, like I did with Tails' voice actor, because
Mm-hmm.
they probably gave her a voice she had to try doing. You know,
Yeah.
I personally don't like any of the voice actors for Amy how they did their job. I'm not insulting any of them. I just don't like their take. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Amy's a cool character, but literally all they do is make her sound like either Minnie Mouse or like the modern Amy, which is she sounds like a kindergarten like teacher. Like she's
I can
like,
agree. I can see.
yeah,
I can see what you mean.
like
Yeah. Go ahead.
I I don't know how to properly put this. I'm basically just saying, oh, they're annoying, and I don't want that to be like my main point. But that's basically what it is. I feel like you could give her a more genuine tone, or at least just make her sound like a normal little girl.
Now moving on to Big the Cat story.
The best one, 10 out of 10. We have nothing else to say here.
Yeah, nothing else to say there.
Alright, but let's move on to Gamma.
Yeah, Big the Cat. I mean, hold on. I have one more thing to say. Froggy is the uplifting part of that story. All right, we can go ahead and move on
did
to
y'all
Gamma.
did y'all know Froggy is actually a god? That's
He's
a
a
fact.
he's a really really good one. I mean, he's been blessing people since day one.
Yeah, man, he's the best. Froggy, praise the Lord, Froggy.
Yes. All right, moving on. Moving on to Gamma.
Okay, are we actually gonna for real do bigs like properly or not?
Nah, dude. I mean, if you don't like our takes on Big the Cat, you've got a problem. Moving on to Gamma.
All right then. All right.
All
Oh
right,
no.
so Gamma is a bird. That
Okay.
sounded like a bad introduction to Gamma, but
Yeah.
Gamma's
A
real.
flicky.
Yeah, Gamma's a flicky. I almost called him a flirky, but that sounded wrong. Uh, he's a flicky. Overall, again, it's kind of like Amy's story at the middle chunk of it. I prefer
Hmm.
saying that they're both kind of similar. Obviously, at the
Yeah.
beginning,
It's kind of
his
like hmm they're like they're interconnected like Sonic and Tails is. But yeah,
yeah. At the beginning, though, it's just a little different. Obviously,
yeah, I really like the beginning. I'll talk about that in a sec. But you go on.
all right. The beginning basically being that his sisters or brothers or whatever you want to call them were being murdered technically since he won or whatever. Found the real Froggy. I think that's what it was, or maybe I'm talking about
Yeah.
the Sonic X version.
No, that's what it was. Don't worry.
Okay.
The Sonic
Um.
X version is pretty accurate as well. So.
Okay. I'm making sure because the Sonic X version was the most recent one. Anyways,
Mm.
that tells about for Sonic. It kind of tells about a little bit of trauma, which is really good. Not really like they didn't touch deep into it, but we don't really see much trauma in Sonic the Hedgehog, so it's
Hmm.
good that they touched on that because
Yeah.
people do go through trauma, and it's really deceiving and bad.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's all I got for Gamma as a whole.
Yeah. Well, Gamma's a cool guy. Like that's it. But
Gamma's a cool guy. Yeah.
no. I actually do have something I want to say. The
Go
beginning
ahead. Go
of
ahead.
Gamma's story is so interesting to me. Okay. In SA2, they have Team Dirk's story where they get to show you Eggman's side of things, all that stuff. But
Mhm.
we've never properly seen what one of Eggman's, let's use the word soldiers or robots or whatever, what their
Mhm.
perspective is on it. How they're introduced, like the way it begins with Eggman introducing Gamma. Yeah, that's such an interesting scene. Like it puts you in the
Yeah.
shoes of the robots. It's so interesting, and Eggman constantly doubting him. I don't know, just everything about it. It's the tone, the atmosphere, like being given the orders, everything about it. It's just so cool to me. And Gamma's is the only like. Okay, I'm gonna go on about the gameplay a little bit, but
Yeah. Go
Gamma's is
ahead.
he's the only guy with a proper tutorial, and I like that tutorial because it's wedged into the plot.
Mhm.
Like it's a test for him.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
they show off him going like hit the shooting range or whatever, and then they also have a boss fight to show like what that's like. Yeah, so it's a pretty well made tutorial in my opinion, and yeah, the beginning of Gamma's story is just really interesting to me, and the ending with its message and like all that stuff. It's heartwarming.
Yeah. Yeah. I can agree. I can agree. Um. It is really heartwarming and stuff like that. So I can see where you're coming from through your points. I don't really have anything to add because if I did, it would just be repeating what you said, and that defeats the purpose.
Yeah, are we going to touch on Gamma's little like his voice acting, which he has a little bit of it?
If you have anything to say, I don't. It's just kind of a robot, so you
Yeah,
can say
it's
anything.
fine. The thing is with the voice delivery or anything like that, it doesn't really matter because it's a robot, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So
so
if he messes
everything
up or
it works
something.
out. It's how you would expect him to sound.
Right, yeah. It's your it's your Walmart version of Wally in a sense.
Yeah. Also, can I say something about like heroes because it kind of ties into this.
Yeah, you can say something about that.
I really respect that they didn't bring back Gamma
But they
because
brought back Shadow.
yeah, I don't really like that. Kind of sucks, but you know what? Like Shadow was a really popular character. Who was really expecting him not to come back?
That's true.
Um, but with they originally there was no Omega. Originally, Gamma was going to be brought back, and I'm glad they didn't do that because that's like it shows that they respected his character arc. And I mean, the main reason they didn't do that is because he was nowhere near as popular as Shadow. But
Right.
you know, I'm still happy they did.
Yeah, because they could have easily put him in because no one would have cared, of course. Or not many
Yeah.
people would have cared. Hey guys, and thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, and if you are new, subscribe. We are trying to hit 150 subscribers as our next ambitious goal. And after this, I actually don't have much to say. Pretty much just thank you for watching if you did make it this far. And for the series Let's Talk, if this does good, we're going to continue on with the series, of course. But if it doesn't, obviously, we're going to drop the series and figure out something new to do. Anyways, I love you guys. Wear your socks. Peace.